Okay, we're going to do a quick walk around of your mixing drum. Over here we've got the control box that's going to have your relays in it for the motor start and as well for the linear actuator to raise and lower the whole unit. We've put on a pretty long cord for you. All you're going to have to do is attach the plug that goes into your wall outlet for 220 volts, and we're using it on a 20 amp breaker. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in, and we've just got our plug attached to it right now. So it goes in your control box, and we've got the wiring diagram if you ever need it. And then here's the pendant. Get a good view here. Okay, so we've got two functions, basically your start and stop for your motor, and then the lower and raise buttons for the linear actuator, which is positioned right here, and that's what actually performs the tipping action for the drum so that you can empty it out. I want to detail, for shipping purposes, we decided to move this lower mount for the linear actuator, and when you get it, you're going to move this mount right here, which is tightened by these two bolts, up to the line drawn here. So when you get it, you're probably going to have to use a forklift to lift onto either this corner or the corner on the other side to help raise the back of this drum up so that you can manually position this right at the blue line. Now that's our stock setting. Once you guys get very familiar with the drum, you can start moving that around if you feel you need it to tip further or tip less. But that's where we found to be the two optimal positions of the upper and lower mounting points for that linear actuator. So let me go ahead and show you what to do. Now, the pendants will allow the forklift operator to operate the whole drum while still in the forklift. So I highly recommend, for torque purposes on the motor and the gearbox and the whole frame, to always start the drum when it's in what I call the up position. So with a maximum load capacity of 400 pounds of rubber, to reduce the amount of torque required to get this whole thing turning, always put it in the uppermost position that you can. That will help reduce potential slipping of the belts and just reduce their overall torque on the system upon startup. So we'll go ahead and press start here. And then from here, you can lower with reference to the front of the drum so that you can get it into a more horizontal position, which creates a better mixing situation with air and colorant and rubber. And we have found that right at about, I'm still lowering it, right about there seems to be a really good angle for stuff to mix at. And again, you guys can change that if you want as you start playing with it. So you'll let the rubber and colorant mix for whatever time you find is optimal. You'll press the stop button. Okay, and now I'll set this down. We'll go over to the front here. And there's a couple things going on with the lid. Now the lid is, in all fairness, more so just a formality. All its intended purpose is to prevent random rubber chips from falling out during this mixing process. There are angles of mixture where you can set this drum at, and you don't even need to put this lid on. We use it though, so I figure I'd ship it out with it. Now, things I changed from our prototype include these hooks, and we've got them painted. So when you remove the lid and put it back on, you want to line up the properly colored hook with the stripe on this outer rim here. And so let me detail, and then also we've got these quick release latches so that it really keeps, the lid on nice and snug. Okay, once the mixture is done for whatever time period that you find is optimal, simply undo the quick release latches. Here, flip them up out of the way like so. Grab the two handles and turn clockwise. And off comes the lid. Now for putting it back on, again, same scenario. We want to find the latch that corresponds with the silver stripe, silver to silver, and it's a counterclockwise rotation. Just want to make sure the hooks put on the outside like so, just like that. And the latch is on. Preferably, what we do to load the drum is to put the drum into its utmost position, get the 400 pounds maximum. Remember, 400 pounds maximum, you can do less. But we pour rubber in the drum with it in its utmost position. And then we'll dispense our colorant, and then we'll put the lid on, begin the cycle, start our timer, rotate it into position, stop the timer, and then we pick the whole drum up with our forklift using the forklift hoops on the base. Notice that you can come at it from all four sides. You can come at it from the very right side where the electrical box is located. You can come at it from the front, which is where the lid is, or you can come at it from over here on the left, or you can also come at it from the rear. Again, it all depends on how you have your setup in your shop, and we wanted to give you as many options as possible for orientation purposes. So go over some quick maintenance items. Over here on the rear is where all of the drive system is located, and you've got a 3 horsepower motor up to a 20-to-1 reduction gearbox with 2 pulleys one underneath each guard. One thing that might occur over time is the pulleys might get loose, or the belts might get loose, so you may have to just keep an eye on that. If there seems to be some slippage, to tension this belt, the motor slides away and towards the gearbox to tension that belt, and then to tension the belt under this guard, the motor and gearbox are on its own plate, and that plate can move this to the left or to the right to tension that belt. Again, if you have any questions about anything, do not hesitate to give me a call, and I'll walk you through whatever it is. You've got 3. Okay, here's another point. Let's go over here. This arm allows you to change the pivot point, again, if you want to change how much the drum tips or tips back. So if you want to play with those settings, you're more than welcome to do so. It's as simple as loosening up these bolts and then sliding. You got to do it on both sides, this side and this side. And then with the help of a forklift or at least a couple guys, because this whole thing weighs 750 pounds, you will go ahead and move the tube within its mount here, and then retighten the bolts, and then these are locking nuts. So once you get these tight again, you'll just cinch down the locking nuts, and then you're set. And that's pretty much it.